The geometry-level editor is pretty complex, especially for a beginner, and creating even the simplest things may take you a lot of time. But don't worry, in this video I'll show you 22 tricks that will not only make you faster, but also make your levels more optimized. Let's say you've used an object in a level, but you don't remember where to find it, and scrolling through all of these tabs doesn't help either. A handy thing you can do is make sure you have no object selected and then click the object you wanna find. The game will automatically select the object for you. When you have a lot of different objects on top of each other, editing the structure may become messy very fast. There's a couple of things you can do to make this easier. First of all, make sure you have link controls enabled. This allows you to link a group of objects together, so when you click one of the objects, it will select the whole link structure. Let's say you wanna select only the spikes, but GD just refuses to pick them. In this case, just select one of them and click this button. With this filter enabled, you can only select the spikes. Decorating slopes can be a nightmare, especially when it comes to glow. Using these default slope objects makes this weird overlap and leaves a small gap here. An easy fix to this is to use the default straight glow object and warping it like this. If you want a slight color variation for a specific object, you could make a new color channel, but this has a couple of drawbacks. First of all, you'd have way too many color channels in the long run and you'd have to pulse them all individually. Instead, you can use this HSV menu to adjust the color values for just specific objects. Changing values here doesn't affect the color channel. You can also do this for a color channel. If you click here when modifying a color channel, you can make it copy another one. Then you can add some variation here. Now when changing the original color, the new one will change too. Sometimes after rotating or scaling an object, it will start doing some absolute weirdness. This is because the object has a solid hitbox. By using this extra menu found in the edit group setting, you can remove the hitbox and scale the object however you want. There's also many other useful settings there. For example, no glow, which removes this glow that many objects have naturally, makes almost any level look a bit better. In platformer mode, every second you spend on a level decreases your points by 1000. If you don't want leaderboards like this, disable it here. If you're playing on PC, you can use the keyboard to do many things for you instead of having to click buttons manually. For example, you can move objects with WASD and rotate with Q and E. You can also use the function keys for a lot of fun things, so try them out. There are a lot of useful settings that are not turned on by default. In this menu, you can enable increase scale, which lets you make objects bigger with the scale slider. Then there's layer locking. After enabling this, you can lock a layer so you can no longer select any objects from that layer. Also remember to enable show clicks. This shows your clicks when playtesting your level in the editor. It's very useful when making click-synced gameplay. This pause menu also has many useful features that you might have not seen before. Build helper is definitely the most important one. When you have some triggers and objects selected, clicking this will distribute any already used group IDs to new unused ones. This is useful when you're copy-pasting an effect, for example, because you don't have to give the new objects manually new groups. If you wanna loop some triggers infinitely, press create loop after creating the trigger setup and selecting all of the triggers. This will automatically place some triggers to loop the triggers infinitely. This is very useful for moving objects in platformer mode. Align X simply aligns all of the selected objects evenly on the X-axis. Enough about the settings, let's move on to the fun stuff. Have you ever noticed this button that highlights whenever you select an object? Well, clicking it brings you to the layer where the object is located. For some reason it took me way too long to figure out this exists. When you're adding pulses to your level, it might be hard to guess where to place them. An easy solution to this is the BPM trigger. After figuring out the BPM of the song, type it here and make sure the speed is correct. Now you can see these lines that you can use to align your pulses perfectly to the beat. Doing this is way faster than figuring out the position by spamming the music playtest button, and also gives more accurate results. When you scale objects too big, they might disappear from the screen too early. You can fix this with this link visible trigger. Give the object a group and put the group in the link visible trigger. This makes every object in that group visible when at least one of them is on screen. Don't use this feature on too many objects though, because it might make the level laggy. An easy way to make her level look more professional is to add some movement. You could move every structure manually with move triggers, but you can also make the same effect with just one trigger. First give a new group ID to every object you wanna move. Then place an area move trigger and set the target group to the group that you gave to the blocks and make the center group the player. Remember to always click the plus when making a new area effect. Then mess around with the values here. I highly recommend checking the editor guide for this trigger, cause it might be pretty complicated at first. If you want your structure to move as a whole, link it and make one of the objects a group parent in the extra menu. If your ship part is looking a bit messy, you can add this trigger to disable the background particles. Another useful trigger is this one, which disables the exit and enter effects for the level. If you want to keep them on, you can try different effects with these triggers. Different effects can change the vibe of your level completely, so use them wisely. Finally, a very useful tip is to just look at the info box whenever you don't understand a feature. For more info, check out the editor guide. You can find the link here. If you made it this far, subscribe if you want, cause these stats are absolutely terrible. You guys should log in for real. Let's get to 5%, please.